Reverend Bishop dear Sisters Teresa and Anne, and all sisters servants of the Immaculate Heart of Mary here present, distinguished colleagues, and especially to you graduates who are now brothers and sisters to all of us who want to make the world a better place. Today, as university graduates, and in a very short while, when you file out of this theater, you're taking your first steps on a new journey as leaders in a world that desperately needs you. It'll happen a little bit at a time. More and more your families, your communities, and the world will put heavy burdens of responsibility upon you, and trust in your character, trust in your moral vision, and trust in the generosity of your heart. How strong of a leader you become will depend on these things, and how well you face the challenge of alleviating suffering and injustice in our world, and how much you yourself will be willing to suffer and sacrifice. All of this will determine whether or not you have left the world a better place than when you found it. You have been strengthened by your university formation here, given to you in the context of deep gospel values. And the kind of leader that you become will depend a lot on you. But ironically, to be a great leader, there will be more required. What will be required is your willingness to be led by colleagues, to be led by your own heart. This is the most important thing. You've had years now of forming your mind. Now we have to think with the heart, a different kind of thinking. Our heart can't become hard. Our heart can't become tired. It has to stay ever fresh, ever new, soft, supple, compassionate. You have to be led by mystery. You have to be shepherded by the unseen God, all merciful and all loving. To be a great leader, and we need you to be, and the world needs you to be, you have to become an expert at the invisible, learning to know and to obey what's going on underneath, to free up and to honor the forces of life, the movements of the heart, the traces of God present and God pointing the way. As a priest and a physician, I'm well versed in the reality of suffering, and I tend to know people at the most extreme challenge of their life. I have had to learn to discern very fast what is happening underneath the physical, the emotional, the spiritual suffering, in order to act quickly and in order to act the right way. I have to understand, as you will, in critical moments, whether what is happening means only that life is changing, or if it means that life is endangered, or if it means that the forces of life are closing down. This is easier to do with physical bodily suffering than it is to do with the suffering of the heart and the suffering of the soul. The suffering of the soul which involves meaning and ultimate meaning. The soul suffering is perhaps the worst kind of suffering. But I've learned a trick when you have to discern very fast, and I'd like to share that trick with you. It might come in handy in difficult times. It'll be easy to be a leader in good times and in the times of joy. It's in the difficult times that we need advice. You know you have started to die when you have more memories than you have dreams. When you so cling to what has happened already that nothing new can happen in your life. In the end, to be a great leader, and we need you to be great leaders, the world needs you to be great leaders. In the end, to be a great leader is to be embraced and led by dreams. They are the language of God. It's easy to dream when we are young. It's easy to dream on the first day of school and on the last, like today. It's easy to dream at the beginning of a marriage when love is abundant and exuberant. But there are times when it is very hard to dream. The sudden shock of a deadly cancer diagnosis, the failed marriage that divides families and hearts, the financial collapse that leads to anguish and shame. In such moments, it is very difficult to dream. In fact, these moments easily lead to nightmares. Dreams are more than just a sign of life and health. The Acts of the Apostles, which we read now in these days of Easter, teach us that dreams are the sign of the risen Christ present with us. Enthusiasm, entheos, God within. St. Luke says, we know the risen Christ this way. The young will dream dreams. The old will see visions. Dreams at the beginning, dreams at the end, and dreams everywhere in between. But how do you dream in the face of difficulty and tragedy? Let me divert your attention just for a minute to a country not far away at all, in the Caribbean, a country called Haiti, full of wonderful and vibrant people whom I have learned to know and to love intimately. I take you to the Haiti of the past 18 months. Imagine a people who are already among the poorest on the planet, with all of the humiliation that poverty brings. Imagine that in your poverty, the entire city falls on you in a matter of 36 seconds. Your national palace, your cathedral, your markets, and your homes turn to dust, heavy dust that traps you and breaks your bones. Imagine that you, unlike 300,000 who died, are able to crawl out of that rubble alive, maybe without an arm or without a leg, maybe without your mother or your daughter or your son, but you are out, and you head towards help because you want to live, and you believe in tomorrow. Wounded mothers carrying wounded children in any direction that they might find help. You can't go home, it's gone. Imagine when finally you can put yourself back together at least a little bit. You have to sew rags and shreds of cloth together to make what will become your home from then to this present moment as I speak, with 1 million people living displaced in their own country under rags. And just as you start getting better comes a terrible diarrhea called cholera that can enter into you in the morning and hand you your death by noon. Many of us have been inspired by individual people that we have known who have risen out of tragedy and inspire us by their heroism. But what we have in this example is the heroism of an entire nation. People who are showing us, showing you, showing me, you who are the future leaders of our world, what you have when you have lost everything. The people of Haiti are showing us that when you have nothing left but faith, hope, and love, you have everything. Faith, hope, and love are what dreams are made out of. As college graduates, you are about to bring everything that life has made you out into the world. You will become doctors, judges, teachers, bankers. You will wield every kind of skill and power in the marketplace and in the social centers of the world. Remember people who have shown you heart. Learn how to think from your heart. Remember this witness of the Haitian people, this gift, this charism of theirs, which is part of the charism of the founding of the Servants of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, and part of the founding of Marywood University. The Spirit is yours from the beginning. Take this Spirit. Let it be part of you as you navigate now the great spheres of our globe, the land sphere, the water sphere, the atmosphere. Bring this kind of heart to the heart sphere. Bring this kind of mind to the sphere of consciousness. Let your hearts dream of peace and justice, of prosperity, for all people on the planet and for the earth itself. Let your mind dream of what is beautiful, what is noble, what is true, what is everlasting. This will make you the kind of person that will matter infinitely on this planet. Let your dreams take wing on faith, hope, and love. Be open to the reality of God underneath. Gandhi once said, there is an indefinable, mysterious power pervading everything. I feel it, though I do not see it. It is unseen, but makes itself felt. A living power that is changeless, that holds all things together, creating, dissolving, and recreating. St. Patrick said it a little bit differently. Christ before, Christ behind. Christ at the right, Christ at the left, Christ inside, Christ outside, Christ there, all around. Mary, the mother of Jesus, said it in a simpler way still. Fiat, let it be done, not according to my design, but yours. I beg you only to let your design be known to me. This is our prayer for you today. You have achieved many things and many more achievements await you. The time will run full and fast. But when the years have gone by and the chronicles are written, may it be known that this class of Marywood 2011 was a class of dreamers, and that your dreams remained ever fresh and new. May you be known as a class of unfailing faith, hope, and love. These are our prayers for you today. We congratulate you on your success, and we cover you with these prayers. God bless you, and congratulations.
Father Rick, thank you for your meaningful message and for being such an outstanding role model for our graduates. Through your faith and your determination to make a difference, You have shown how God can use each one of us to bring light where there seems only darkness. You have demonstrated how God's redeeming grace can reveal goodness, strength, and joy in the unlikeliest of places, in the midst of chaos, when hope seems far away. We'd like to show our appreciation for your inspiring words with another round of applause. I would also like to recognize our two other esteemed honorees, Father Thomas O'Hara and Father Scott Pilar. Both have made outstanding contributions to Catholic higher education in this region and well beyond. I have come to know them not only as wise and dedicated colleagues, but also as valued friends. Please join me in commending these remarkable priests and educators with our applause. As I was reflecting on today's events, I realized that each of the priests we honor today comes from a distinctive order with a cherished spiritual tradition: the Passionists, the Congregation of Holy Cross, and the Society of Jesus. Each has a special charism or gift from God that shapes and gives meaning to the lives of their members and the work they do. The Passionists reach out with compassion to those in need, proclaiming God's love for the world as revealed through the passion of Jesus Christ. The Congregation of Holy Cross bears strong witness to the essential nature of community, holding up the cross as a symbol of hope and living in constant response to the most pressing needs of the church and society. Jesuits follow the Ignatian charism, doing all for the honor and glory of God, following Jesus Christ and serving the church. As a congregation, the IHM sisters embrace the Alphonsian charism. We too rejoice in the all-inclusive, unconditional love of God and commit ourselves to sharing the redeeming mission of Jesus. We reclaim and confirm the core values that impel and permeate our participation in that mission: rootedness in God, community, justice, respect for diversity, and wholeness. There are many parallels among these spiritual traditions and charisms, as well as qualities that make each one distinctive. Yet each is worthy, each is valued, each is needed to proclaim the gospel message to the world. As I look out at all of you today, I know that the same is true of you as Marywood University graduates. While your vocation may not be that of a professed religious life, you are indeed called to a greater purpose, directed by God's gifts choosing within you. When you leave here today, it's not the end of something, but the beginning of something more. Scripture says there are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit distributes them. There are different kinds of service, but the same Lord. There are different kinds of working, but in all of them and in everyone, it is the same God at work. So I encourage you to use these different gifts to shape your lives as leaders in service to others, advancing the kingdom of God along the way. Your time at Marywood has equipped you well for the journey. Claim your calling. Blend your professional skills with a passion for excellence in all you are and do and have yet to contribute. All of us here believe in you. Never stop believing in yourselves and never stop growing. As we gather here today, our prayers are with those who have suffered through recent natural disasters, especially those in Japan and the southern United States. These events are poignant reminders of what it means to live responsibly in a diverse and interdependent world. When Haiti was devastated by an earthquake a little over a year ago, I remember how this community came together to support the victims of that tragic event, holding numerous fundraisers and prayer vigils. In fact, our collective efforts raised nearly $14,000 to help those in need. I was moved by how we rallied, not just to send aid to Haiti, but to support our Haitian students on campus who needed us to stand with them at that very important moment during those days of uncertainty as they waited to hear news of their loved ones back home. One of those students, Shuta, is graduating today with a master's degree in public administration. He also earned his undergraduate degree in criminal justice from Marywood. When reflecting on his Marywood experience recently, Shuta said, "Marywood offers a sense of community, a sense of growth where you enter as a freshman and come out a responsible young adult who is armed with a quality education, ready to tackle whatever is out there." At Marywood, I wasn't a number in a classroom. It was easy to develop relationships with each and every one of my teachers. I will always be a part of Marywood, as Marywood is in me. I would like to build on Chadley's sentiments in addressing a few words to our undergraduate class of 2011. In 2007, when many of you entered Marywood University as freshmen, I began my first year as president. Along the way, we have both learned and grown. But today I want to say to you, I delight in your success and in the men and women that you have become. To paraphrase Chadley's words, the class of 2011 will always be a part of Marywood and special to me. On the day of my inauguration 4 years ago, I challenged you to engage fully with the world around you. I observed each of you has a unique contribution to make to imagining and realizing alternate visions for a world that is conducive to abundant life. I encouraged you to lean into all of the opportunities of a Marywood education. I concluded my inaugural address by saying, "You have a right and duty to dream. You have a right and duty to hope. You have a right and duty to envision possibilities for a better world. And you have a right and duty to make it happen. The world is waiting to be hallowed by you." I charged you to be courageous and hopeful, to become global citizens, to choose life, to claim your goodness, and convert your dreams to deeds. On this day, 4 years later, I charge all of our graduates, bachelor, master's, and doctoral, with the same confidence, with deep belief in you and in your power for good. This is your inauguration day, one in which you are enjoying a ceremonial start to a new beginning. This is your dreams to deeds moment, a milestone on the journey for which you have prepared so diligently. Embrace it and live it. Indeed, the world is waiting to be hallowed by you. On behalf of all at Marywood University, I congratulate each one of you and rejoice with you, your families, and friends. May God bless each of you abundantly. Thank you.